What's up, everybody? This is Josh Robinson, the Joystick Gamer, and in today's review, we're jumping ship and we're going planet hopping in Eidos Montreal's Guardians of the Galaxy. Hand up, I thought this was going to be another half-baked mess, similar to the Marvel Avengers game. Avengers just felt like another awful game iteration of a beloved franchise that we wanted to love so bad, but they just wouldn't let us. And because of that, my initial feelings were that this was going to be more of the same. But guess what? After 15 minutes of playing, I'm here to tell you that there is hope. And who would have thought that it was Peter Quill and Guardians of the Galaxy that would be here to save the day? Let's get into it. In Guardians of the Galaxy, you're thrust into the role of Peter Quill, aka Starlord, while being paired with the now familiar and always fighting cast of Rocket, Groot, Drax, and Gamora. Without ruining any spoilers, you're tasked with completing a contract early on in the game that causes a chain of hilariously unfortunate events. These unravelings and resolutions throughout the story have the Guardians bouncing around from gorgeous planet to gorgeous planet as they strive to save the galaxy once more. What I love so much about the plot aspect of the story is that they created their own unique story to tell within the Guardians universe. This is not a rip of one of the two movies, but they so masterfully captured the essence, tone, and voice of the Guardians franchise. While it has its own unique story, it was enjoyable to see the developers incorporate little dialogue bits throughout the game that alluded to events that occurred in the movies, which was a nice touch. Outside of the wonderfully fresh plot, where the game really shines and stands out is the dialogue and character development of all the Guardians. The writing was masterful and captured the true essence of each character with their tone and dialogue. Whether it was Rocket flying off the handle, Groot taking witty banter to heart, Drax missing any and all signs of sarcasm, or Gamora being annoyed at the mere sight of everyone's existence, it left me feel like I was Starlord with the crew. To give the dialogue that sense of impact and meaning, there are conversation trees with the Guardians and others that would have an impact on how the mission would play out. Not all conversation trees had as much stake as others, but even the playful trees often found you picking sides between two Guardians that were arguing and giving you the freedom to choose whose side you're on and how you want the rest of the conversation to play out. These were often hilarious altercations, and I find myself always choosing the option to throw more gas on the fire because the creative writing was just that good in this game.
I guess that only applies to cats.
You sons of dogs! Scut-busting ass!
I am not familiar with these words.
Filthy grunt scum, but
I think he's making them up. He's really pissed.
They even go so far with the conversation trees that there were multiple callbacks later in the game from decisions I had made early on. It was this level of nuance that fully immersed me into the Guardians of the Galaxy, and if you love the Marvel Universe, this game is worth every penny for the story and character development alone. Oh, and by the way, this game is absolutely hilarious. No, seriously, I cannot tell you the last time I've laughed out loud from a video game this many times. I find it so hard to incorporate humor into a video game that isn't just a cheap and occasional one-liner that it feels fresh to have this level of humor and comedy written into a video game.
We are not here to start a war with the woman who's got her own private army.
No, just rob her.
If we do things right and be quiet, we'll be in and out with no one the wiser. Drax, what part of quiet don't you understand?
Dead is quiet, Peter Quill.
No killing!
While this is totally a game that I'm confident can carry you from start to finish on story and humor alone, bad combat and mechanics can often derail a game with great potential. Thank the Starlord that this is not the case here. Does the game incorporate a new game-changing mechanic? No. Does the game reinvent the wheel of third-person combat? No. But guess what? I love them for that. Eidos Montreal knew that their bread and butter and what made this game great was going to be the storytelling and presentation. They understood what the game was meant to be and made sure that the combat complemented that. The controls feel tight, easy to pick up, and made it feel satisfying to kill enemies. The system itself isn't really that complex, with your abilities ranging from a close range attack, a long range attack, a defensive move, and an offensive move. Since you're always Starlord, the way they incorporate the other Guardians into your combat set is by giving them attack commands. Their attacks have a similar variety of combat options, with their abilities tailored a bit to each of their respective personalities. For example, Rocket is super loud and explosive, Gamora is stealthy and lethal, Drax is a brawler till the day he dies, and Groot handles large crowds with ease. The game does a great job here of not overwhelming the player with all of their abilities and introducing each character's combat efficiencies in ways that made it easy to grasp and then incorporate into your combat style. As you play through, you gain style points for chaining kill combos together in fights, and ultimately adding those points to a skill bank, which unlocks more of these Guardians' abilities. This is where you begin to unlock each Guardian's full potential, including your own, and that is when the combat goes from feeling safe and easy to fun and way deeper than I would have ever expected. By the end of the game, you'll be having insane kill combos because you begin to intuitively learn how many of the abilities can be comboed together, creating massive damage and grim-forming combos. Guardians of the Galaxy managed to create a fun, easy to pick up combat system that was a perfect bridge between the story and cutscenes. Nothing about the combat felt out of place, unnecessary, or clunky, which is exactly what they needed to help drive you through this amazing story. One of the funniest aspects of the combat is the huddle up ability, which is best for when your back is against the wall. When you use this ability, you're ported from the combat and into a team huddle with the crew, where you're fed with some hilarious and sometimes harsh words from the other Guardians. Based on their commands, you're presented with a conversation tree where you have to make a choice, and you better hope it's the right choice. If you guess right and pick the answer that fires up the team and rallies the troops, then you get a buff where your abilities refresh quicker across the board of all characters. If you don't though, well, they end up roasting the crap out of you until you either die or finish the fight. It's just another way they added style, character development, and humor throughout the game and in the most unexpected of places. Speaking of places, the worlds that Eidos built for Guardians of the Galaxy are awe-inspiring and will leave you oftentimes taking a pause from what you're doing just to gaze out and appreciate the stunning spatial landscapes. Each world felt like it was plucked directly from the Guardians movies and had its own life to it. By creating such memorable landscapes for each level and planet, I truly felt like we were being jumped around the galaxy like wanted space cowboys trying to save the world. The graphics are very well done in this game, and they stand out most in the characters' facial expressions. Eidos Montreal's ability to capture a wide variety of emotions in these characters is truly impressive, and it further added to the development and empathy of each character. If for some reason you weren't already feeling like you were part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the soundtrack in this game will take you the rest of the way. I can't think of a game off the top of my head where the soundtrack of a game not only complemented the game and its characters, but truly elevated it. The Guardians soundtrack consists of 80s rock and hair metal classics such as Kiss, Billy Idol, Pat Benatar, Flock of Seagulls, and the always memeable Rick Astley, to name a few. The soundtrack was such a big part of the movies, and it's great to see the studio recognize that and bring in songs that embody the Guardians of the Galaxy spirit. For 95% of the game, I didn't experience any frame rate dips except for one of the last chapters in the game where frames seemed to drop left and right. I restarted the game shortly after and didn't experience any frame rate drops going forward. The only other noticeable inconvenience was the occasional clip-in during in-game cutscenes. Even with these minor performance bumps, it isn't anything that ruined my experience or took away from the immersion into the Guardians universe. Overall, this game is going to be a game that, in my opinion, flies under the radar and won't get as much love as it truly deserves. Help me buck that trend and go check out Guardians of the Galaxy. It is my sleeper of 2021 and a must-play game for anyone looking for a hilarious and engaging trip into the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. Eidos Montreal knocks the storytelling, character development, and dialogue out of the park while pairing it with an easy-to-learn but surprisingly deep combat system. Even if this game is the opposite of everything you love to play as a gamer, I am confident that you will love this game and not be able to put it down until you're done saving the galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy has reinstilled hope in movies turned video games, and I'm hoping other studios are taking notes because Eidos Montreal have truly outdone themselves in this one. Thank you for taking the time to check out this review of Guardians of the Galaxy. If you've played it, leave a comment below and let me know what you think, and tell me if you love the storytelling as much as I did. If you want to see more reviews, go ahead and show some love to the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on future reviews. I'm Josh Robinson with Joystick Gamer, and as always, stay gaming out there.